Reckoning on the dock, the sun dipped low over the small coastal town of Clearwater Bay, painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and pink. The scent of salt and fish filled the air as the boats rocked gently in the harbor. It was a quiet town, the kind of place where everyone knew each other, until the day trouble rolled in on roaring engines. Lena Carter had spent her whole life by the water. At 21, she was strong, independent, and more than capable of handling herself. She worked alongside her father, Jack Carter, mending nets and selling the day's catch at the market. Life was simple, peaceful, but peace has a way of attracting trouble. One evening, as Lena was loading up her truck after a long day, she heard the unmistakable sound of motorcycles rumbling into the lot behind the fish market. She turned and saw them, 6 men, all clad in black leather, their jackets bearing the insignia of the Iron Fangs, a notorious biker gang known for stirring up trouble wherever they went. Their leader, a burly man with a snake tattoo winding up his neck, grinned as he stepped toward her. Well, what do we have here?" he drawled, his voice rough as gravel. "You working all alone, sweetheart?" Lena ignored him and kept loading the crates into her truck. She had dealt with creeps before, but something about these men made her skin crawl. "Hey, we're talking to you," another biker sneered, stepping closer. "Ain't polite to ignore folks." "Not interested," Lena shot back, shutting the truck bed. She turned to leave, but a thick, tattooed arm blocked her path. "You see, darlin'," the leader said, his grin widening. "We just got into town, and we're looking for a little company. You seem like the friendly type." Lena's jaw clenched. "Back off." The bikers laughed. "Feisty, huh?" One of them reached out, brushing a lock of her auburn hair. "I like 'em with a little fight." Before he could finish, Lena twisted his wrist and slammed her elbow into his face. He staggered back, cursing as blood spurted from his nose. "Why, you little," the leader raised a hand. "Easy, boys. She's got some fire." He took a step toward her. "But you're outnumbered, girl." A low, gravelly voice cut through the air. "She doesn't need numbers." The bikers turned as Jack Carter stepped out of the shadows. The old fisherman's worn boots crunched against the gravel as he approached. He looked every bit the weathered sailor, gray beard, calloused hands, and piercing blue eyes that held the weight of the sea itself. But those who knew him well understood there was more to Jack Carter than met the eye. "Who the hell are you?" The leader scoffed. "Her father," Jack said calmly. The leader smirked. "And what are you going to do, old man? Call the cops?" Jack didn't answer. He just kept walking forward, his eyes scanning the group with the precision of a predator sizing up prey. The man with the broken nose lunged at him first. In a flash, Jack sidestepped, caught the man's wrist, and twisted hard. There was a sickening crack, followed by a howl of pain as the biker dropped to his knees. The second one charged. Jack ducked under a wild swing, his fist driving into the man's gut like a sledgehammer. The biker crumpled, gasping for air. The leader cursed and pulled a knife. "You son of a," Jack moved faster than any of them expected. He grabbed the leader's wrist, twisted the blade away, and drove his elbow into the biker's jaw. The man collapsed in a heap. The remaining 3 hesitated, glancing at each other, their bravado draining. They had come expecting easy fun, not a one-man wrecking crew. Jack's voice was eerily calm as he spoke. "I spent 20 years as a Navy SEAL. You think this is the first time I've dealt with men like you?" He leaned down, picking up the leader's knife and flipping it in his hand. "Now, let me give you some advice. Get on your bikes, ride out of town, and never come back. If I ever see you near my daughter again." He drove the knife into the wooden dock beside the leader's head. "You won't be walking away next time." The bikers scrambled to their feet, dragging their injured leader. Without another word, they bolted for their bikes, engines roaring as they sped out of town like the devil himself was chasing them. Lena exhaled, looking at her father. "Guess you still got it, old man." Jack smiled, his eyes twinkling. "You did good, kid. But next time, maybe wait before breaking someone's nose." Lena smirked. "No promises." As the last traces of the bikers disappeared beyond the horizon, father and daughter stood side by side, the salty breeze carrying away the echoes of trouble. And just like that, Clearwater Bay was peaceful once more. The dust from the departing motorcycles had barely settled when Lena turned to her father, still catching her breath. The harbor was quiet again, but the energy in the air was anything but calm. "You think they'll be back?" she asked, crossing her arms. Jack Carter watched the road where the bikers had vanished, his expression unreadable. Men like them don't take kindly to humiliation, he muttered. Especially not from a young woman and an old man. Lena smirked. Old man, you just took down 5 guys in under a minute. Jack shook his head. I taught you how to fight, Lena, but there's a difference between a bar fight and a war. These guys are part of something bigger. He turned to her. We need to be ready. Lena knew better than to argue. When her father spoke in that tone, the voice of a man who had seen war, who had fought in the shadows and survived, she listened. That night, they locked up the fish market and drove home. Their small cabin nestled along the coastline. It was a simple place, but to them, it was home. The porch creaked under Jack's weight as he sat down, staring out at the ocean. Lena leaned against the railing, arms crossed. You're thinking something, she said. Jack took a slow breath. They'll come back. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but they'll come back. He tapped his fingers against the armrest. And when they do, they won't come alone. Lena swallowed hard. So what do we do? Jack's lips curled into a knowing smile. We prepare. The return of the Iron Fangs, it didn't take long. 2 days later, just after sundown, the rumble of engines filled the air again. This time, it wasn't just 6 bikers, it was an entire convoy. At least 15 of them rolled into town, their headlights cutting through the fog rolling in from the sea. At the front of the pack was a man Lena hadn't seen before. He was older, more built, with a scar running down the left side of his face. His jacket bore the same Iron Fangs insignia, but with one difference. His had President stitched under it. Jack and Lena watched from the dock as the bikers lined up, their tires crunching against the gravel. The scarred man stepped off his bike and walked toward them. You Carter? He asked, his voice calm but full of menace. Jack nodded. My name's Rocco, the man said. Those boys you beat up? They're mine. Jack didn't flinch. They started it. Rocco exhaled through his nose, looking Jack up and down. You used to be Navy, huh? Jack's silence was answer enough. Rocco chuckled. Yeah, I can tell. You move like it. Quick. Precise. But see, the thing is, his eyes flicked to Lena, and a slow grin spread across his face. You messed with my men. And now, we got a problem. Lena felt her hands ball into fists. Jack, however, remained unervingly calm. You ride in here with 15 guys, he said. Why? You think numbers make you safe? Rocco's grin faltered. Jack took a step forward, his tone lowering. You have no idea what I've done, what I've seen, what I'm capable of. His eyes locked onto Rocco's. You think I need numbers? Silence. The other bikers shifted uneasily. Jack let the moment stretch before he spoke again. You have a choice. Walk away. Right now. Or stay and find out what happens when you push a man like me too far. For a long moment, Rocco didn't move. His jaw tightened, his fingers twitching at his side. Then, without a word, he turned back to his bike. The other bikers hesitated. Mount up, Rocco barked. Engines roared to life. Within moments, the convoy was gone, the last of their tail lights disappearing over the horizon. Lena exhaled. That's it. Jack nodded. He knows when he's outmatched. She raised a brow. And if he didn't? Jack smiled, his voice filled with quiet steel. Then he would have learned the hard way. That night, as the waves lapped against the dock, father and daughter stood side by side, knowing that trouble might come again, but so would they. And next time, they'd be ready.